This will be the part 2 to my watch this if your family is making you miserable video. If you haven't watched it yet, I will link it somewhere. Basically, there's just so much to talk about when it comes to this topic. There's different time frames that you need to take into consideration. There are different angles that you have to look at it from, so this will be the part 2. One of the first comments under the previous video was someone basically saying that they just can't leave their parent behind. And I want to be clear that like none of the points that I talked about in my previous video or in this one will be cutting contact. That being said, it can and sometimes just has to be the solution, because sometimes there's just unfortunately nothing more to do. So I want you to know that if that was like your last resort and that's what you had to do, I see you and I get you. But I won't be getting into it probably much further unless you want me to, or you have any like maybe questions about that, because I feel like it is just kind of self-explanatory more or less. So I will talk more about what you can do when you're still in the situation and when you're choosing to still have a relationship with that person. That being said, I think it was very interesting and I think totally understandable why someone would comment that, even though I didn't speak on it. Like I didn't speak on leaving anyone behind or like cutting contact with someone. I think it's because it can feel so impossible to set boundaries with difficult relatives or toxic relatives that it will make you feel like that's the only thing left to do. Like you can't imagine a world where you can talk things out and actually come to any sort of common ground. So all you can think of is like, okay, it's either gonna be this situation I'm in right now, or I'll just abandon it and like do my own thing. And I think in general, it's very difficult to set boundaries. Like it can be very difficult, and I think it's difficult for a lot of people just because it's uncomfortable. You kind of have to put someone else in their place, and not only that, but you have to be willing to actually follow up. Like boundaries only work when you follow up. Like if there are no consequences, your boundaries don't matter. Like it doesn't matter how often you're going to say to someone, I don't like when you do this, and when you do this it makes me feel like this, and I feel like I can't like continue talking to you, like I can't be around you anymore. It doesn't matter if you actually are not willing to follow up. And the important thing to remember about setting boundaries, especially with a relative, I think a lot of people that grew up in such unhealthy dynamics at home have this hope or like this desperation to change that relative. Like there's something in you that kind of pushes you to continue to like have the same arguments over and over again, because you hope and you hold on to like maybe in some world, hopefully soon, they will change. Hopefully, like they just need to understand like what they're really doing. Like I just need to have like one more argument. Like I just have to make my point clear one more time, and then something will eventually click. You can't change anyone. Let me repeat this. You cannot change anyone, let alone a relative. It's impossible. A person will change when they want to change. Not because you ask them to, not because you push them to, when they want to. This is not a scenario where you can play the hero, where you feel like if I just sacrifice myself one more time, if I just take their harm and their mistreatment one more time, surely they will get it eventually. Like if I just like literally break my back just for a chance to make them understand, something will change. I'm not saying they will not change. I'm just saying that you cannot make them. You have to take that responsibility off of your shoulders, because you don't have it. You don't have the control over it. You don't bear the responsibility to change someone else. You don't bear the responsibility to make someone a better person. You don't. And I would go so far as to say, and I'm sure a lot of people probably can relate, when you have these like really toxic dynamics at home, a lot of the times that same relative will be perfectly able to pretend to be this like ideal parent or like this ideal relative to you. Like when you have like visitors over, when you're outside with them, they have this like superficial charm, and this is like honestly, if you're dealing with a narcissist, you know what I'm talking about. Like they will have this ability to know exactly what is needed to do to appear as a great parent or as a great relative, which to me means that they know what they have to do, not just pretend. They know what they have to do in order to be a better person, relative, whatever. They know. It's a lot of times it's not that they don't know. They know. Now, I specifically won't get into why they do that. I won't. And do you want to know why? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's their problem. And a big thing in all of this is recognizing where your life and your responsibility starts and ends, and where theirs starts and ends. This is all about enmeshment. This is all about like being incredibly entangled, and we don't want to get further entangled. You don't need to figure out their brain. You have your own life, and they're not even asking for your help either. Like, you really have to. This is so important. You have to take multiple steps back when it comes to this, and you resonate with the things that I'm saying, and you feel like you're constantly trying to manage the other person. It's not your job. They're an adult. They can figure it out when they want to, if they want to. You can point them in the right direction 1, 2, 3. Probably the people that I'm talking to right now, you've done that 500 million times. You've done that more than enough times. Enough. Take that power, take that energy, take this huge sense of responsibility and accountability, and this sense of justiceness, and this sense for this is not what fairness looks like, but I know what it looks like, and I want that in my life. Take that and implement that within your own life. You are not responsible for them. You are not responsible for figuring out their lives. You will not be the hero in this. There is no winning anything in this. It's a losing game unless you're willing to disconnect from the game entirely. And by disconnecting, again, I don't mean necessarily, it can be, but I don't necessarily mean cutting contact. I mean spiritually, mentally, emotionally disconnecting, knowing where your boundaries are and knowing where your responsibility ends. I need you to internalize that as much as possible and as early as possible. This goes for whatever stage you're in, for whatever age you are. The earlier the better. A relationship is a two-way street. You cannot single-handedly fix that broken relationship. Especially, once again, remember, they're the ones that we're supposed to take care of you. Now, this concerns more like kind of boundaries for yourself, like knowing like how much you take upon yourself and like what to let go, right? But there also needs to be very, very real boundaries, like when interacting or engaging with that relative, whoever that is. As I said in the previous video, I think when you just don't have the means to move out, right, and be like physically, locally independent, I would say watch that video first, because there's a lot of things that you're not doomed. Like, you're not supposed to just wait around until you can move out, okay? This is not what this is. We can always do things to help ourselves and take care of ourselves, okay? But if you have the means to move out, do it. Absolutely do it. Independence is everything when it comes to this. The more you depend on them, and the more this relative, and we know this, and actually I've had someone pointing this out in also like the comments of my last video, the more they feel like they have the upper hand when it comes to like your actual caretaking, housing, whatever, the more difficult it will be. The more you will just run against the wall every time you try to talk to them, every time you try to find compromises, okay? Also, not just because of like arguments or whatever, for your own sanity, I think you will be so surprised at how incredibly different it is when you have your own space. Like, I think you probably, or when you're in this kind of like toxic household, I think we all dream of like being independent and having our own place. But I think the actual feeling of doing that is unlike anything you can imagine. Like, it's so important. Don't underestimate how important it is to have your own space. Moving out in itself can easily be a whole ordeal when you're in those toxic households. Like, be ready to be guilt tripped, be ready to be shamed for it, be ready to be judged for it, all that fun stuff. All you need to remember is what I said earlier. First of all, be safe. Second of all, know where the responsibility for your life starts and where your responsibility for others ends. This is something that you need to do for yourself, and you need to be standing up for yourself. If they choose not to be there for you during that time and instead make you feel as bad as possible and like make it as hard as possible for you, let that be their choice. Let that be their choice. You don't have to sit there and justify yourself. You don't. You know what you have to do. Go for it. Whatever they do, mentally make a cut. That's what they choose to do with their time, with their care for me. That's their choice. I have made my choice and I'm gonna move forward with my choice. There will be a lot of situations like that, not just when you move out, but when you like get older and older and there's like more things that you just do freely, right? Because you're not just at home anymore with them, like you're not entangled with every one of their decisions, but you start making your own decisions. It is very likely that you have a lot of situations, a lot of choices that you will make where they will try to look down on you, or where they will try to make you feel like a bad person or something like that. This is where you cannot pull out the people-pleasing tendencies. You have to stand firm in where you want to be in your life. You have to stand firm in your choices. Even if you make mistakes, that's the thing. Sometimes they will make you feel like you're stupid, you're not like adult enough, you're not mature enough, you're just a child. You're allowed to make mistakes. Newsflash, you're allowed to make mistakes. It doesn't matter, actually. Life is all about mistakes, and you will teach yourself that you can make mistakes and get up again. Actually, that's what they were supposed to teach you, but they didn't do it. So I'm gonna tell you in case you forgot. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to sometimes do something that they even warned you about. Do it. Actually feel like, okay, maybe this wasn't the right decision, and still believe in yourself and not go back to that place where you're being shamed for every little mistake that you're doing. This is what actually growing up in a healthy home is supposed to be like. You're supposed to make mistakes and have a place that will teach you that it's totally okay. Not just okay, in fact, like just a natural part of life. Now, I feel like the focus so far in this video has been more on independence, because I truly believe that it is so detrimental. Like, you have to make your own choices. Like, you have to realize that you're responsible for your life. Like, you have to step on their feet. If they're just unhealthy and can't accept that you will grow up and have your own life, you will have to step on their feet at some point. Like, and that is okay, and that is a part of the process. That is a part of you growing up and becoming an adult. That being said, it can be very easy to start overcorrecting. What I mean by that is hyper-independence, for example. It can be very hard to sometimes start letting people in at all anymore, because you just associate closeness with people taking advantage of you, or people mistreating you, or when people want to do something nice for you, you think like, oh no, then they take care of me in some sort of way, and then they will hold that against me because maybe you grew up in a household where they told you constantly that you should be, or you're ungrateful if you would speak up because they're putting a roof over your head and they're taking care of you. So like, you start associating a lot of actually positive things and positive traits with danger, because you never learned to express trust freely. You never learned that someone can care for you freely. Like, you learned to be a very limited version of you because what you received was very conditional. And I want you, that you're watching this, I want you to always be as much you as you can possibly be, okay? I don't want you to ever unlearn who you are, and you actually really can't. You can just hide, but you never really lose yourself. Like, you just start hiding a bit more. You start being more closed off. And that's like, your body's just trying to protect you. Like, you're not doing that on purpose, right? Like, you just, as I said, you just learned that things were dangerous, and that if you would open up to someone, or you, like, if you do trust someone, like, something bad will happen. Like, they will not be there for you when you need them. All of those things. But I need you to not overcorrect. I need you to not be mistrustful of everyone you encounter. I need you to know that you don't have to make yourself small in order to be liked or loved. You know that you are being treated unfairly, so I need you to walk this earth like you believe it, so you don't bow down to the injustice. You don't change your personality based on that unfair system. You don't make yourself small to fit it. That would be accepting it. If you want to truly reject it, be brave enough to walk and accept this world openly, to expand, to be yourself, to be brave enough to trust people again, to be open to all sorts of experiences, and know that you can trust yourself, and that whatever you were conditioned to believe isn't what you have to believe in now. You're your own person, and you have the power to live the life that you want. And it's never too late either. If you think, oh, I wish I would have done this earlier and now it's too late to have this realization and change my life. Never. You having that thought, like you having that feeling of like regret or like feeling guilty for not like changing things sooner, it's a helpful signal, because it means that you want to do things differently. That's where you have to go. You don't stay stuck in the I should have done that differently and now it's too late. Whoa, like that's too many conclusions. You're getting the signal that I want to do things differently now. I don't relate to like how I lived back then or even now, so I'm going to change it. We move forward. It's never too late to become who you are. Never ever. I have no idea how long I talked. Like I feel like I've been talking for forever. So, and still there are more things coming up, but for now, let's just end it here. I really hope this helps people. I'm really grateful for like everyone that interacted with the first part of this. I think it was very heartbreaking, honestly, to read a lot of the comments, and very relatable. And at the same time, like, I feel it's so helpful to be able to talk about it. I feel it's so helpful to see that you're not alone, and that a lot of people have dealt with it or are still dealing with it, and you're not alone. And that alone helps so much to not feel like isolated and to not feel like there's not more to life than what you're in right now. And even if you're just silently watching, like, I just hope that this resonates with the people that need it, and I just hope that it helps someone. As always, take very, very good care of yourself, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.